Welcome back to another Tool World podcast. I'm your host, David Jew, and I'm here with Master Jew today.
How are you doing there, Mr. Jew?
Pretty good. So, just a couple announcements before we get started. In 1 week, we're going to be having our Tool 3 seminar that goes over Yogoku Chungmu in depth. So, if you are interested in attending this virtual seminar, you can do so through our website in the link below.
You might want to hurry because it's filling up fast.
Yeah.
Virtually.
Don't forget to check out our Tool World Plus program, where we're releasing content each week, as well as members get special discounts on events and merchandise and uniforms. So
it's a video content, so you can see what's going on.
Right.
Because I think we're going to be discussing something that is going to be difficult to visualize.
Right.
Well, we're not going to show you now.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about it.
So this week we're going to be talking about Hwa-Rang and the movement, I believe it's number 11? Movement number 11. And so it's a step side piercing kick from a 4-fist punch. And so we're going to be discussing, is the heel up in the back? So after you step forward, is the heel up? Or is the heel down before you do the side piercing kick?
Well, first of all, you mentioned something, and I'm thinking about it. I've never heard of it this way, but you said step side piercing kick. And what is stepping? And that's a good question, I think. Because you do have stepping as well as double stepping. Right? Stepping generally is foot to foot, and then double stepping is you step over the front foot. Right?
Okay.
So, but in this case, is that a step? And it is, but it's not foot to foot, but it's fairly close.
Yeah, it is fairly close.
That's I've never thought of it that way. But anyway, yeah, let's talk a little bit about whether the heel is up or down. I do notice that depending on what part of the world you're at, some people have the front foot up, and some people have the front foot down. And so what is the reason behind that, right? So let's discuss
We're putting out the arguments first, of which you're gonna explain your point, and then we have to explain the other one.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the reasoning.
Let's talk about
I think they're all valid. So let's talk about the heel up. What's the reasoning behind it? Heel up.
Okay, so from the way I would explain it, if the heel is up, is why are we moving forward? Someone's grabbing me, right? And so the primary purpose is to strike and to release. So I'm holding that person's hand. That's why I pull that hand back and I execute a side piercing kick. But in order for me to do that, I've got to close the gap. I can't just kick with my front leg and pull them. I mean, I could, but I want to be able to get that full extension, right? So I've got to move forward, and then I execute the kick. So as I move forward, so the way I view it is that when you move forward, the heel is up and you execute the kick. It's not like it's instantaneously is what I'm trying to say, right? Someone grabs my arm, I step forward and I kick. That's it. But you also look at the encyclopedia, it does show that the heel is up. And I think that's one of the reasons why in certain countries or around the world, some countries actually the heel is up, and most of the people I know in Asia, the back heel is up, right? And it's only recently I actually have seen the front heel is up. But in reality, I think both will happen at some point in time. At some point in time through this transition, because it's more of a transition than it is anything, one heel's going to be up, whether it's the front or the back foot. It's going to transition in either one of those.
Right.
What's your thoughts?
Well, we didn't explain the other side of the argument.
Oh, okay. Well, then you want to explain the other side of the argument?
Well, the other side of the argument is that with the heel down is when you step forward, the person's pulling you back. So I shift my weight backwards to, prevent them from pulling me in, so then I can do the side piercing kick.
Okay. Yeah. No. I would agree with that concept if that's what you're trying to do. In other words, if you're trying to not have them pull you forward, so it's kind of like a tug of war, right? Then you would definitely get more stability that way, right?
So what are your thoughts?
My thoughts? Well, I'm not going to go to tug of war. Someone grabs my arm, I'm going to kick them.
Right.
So there, for me, as a matter of fact, as they pull me, as I move forward and I execute the kick, isn't that going to like pull my kick in towards them? Right?
Yeah.
So in reality, I'd probably get more power.
By just stepping in.
Just stepping in and kicking.
Right.
So again, that heel, whether it's front or back foot, is a transition. And even if I do the kick, as what I just said, my back heel's up. When I execute that kick, when I execute it, that back heel has to go down, and then the front heel has to come up.
Right.
And then I follow through with the kick. So
Right.
It's a transition. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Right? So which one should it be, front or back? Right? So I'm kind of leaning not towards the idea that I'm doing tug of war because it's transitional. It's a transitional space.
Right.
Yeah,
So my question is that if you bring that foot up and then you switch, is that like a rear foot stance? Would that be kind of like a separate stance?
Ooh, no, it's not a stance. It's just not a stance. It's kind of like if you're doing, let's say the end of Do-san, where you're in a sitting stance, you execute a knife hand strike. You bring the foot to the other foot, but you don't really set both feet flat on the ground, because when you set both feet flat on the ground, it's like a stance, like a closed stance, and then you bring the other heel up and then you kick. But that's not natural if you're in transitional mode. In other words, when I'm walking, I don't have one heel up and then I put the other foot down when they're both flat on the ground, and then I bring the other heel up and then I take the next step. I don't do that, right?
Yeah.
When I take a step, my heel's up. When I set that foot down, the other foot comes up and then it steps forward. That's a transitional position. So when we teach Taekwondo, we want to continue with that concept. It's a transition from one position to the next. So in the case of Do-san, I'm in sitting stance. I move the right foot to the left, but my heel's up. I'm transitioning to the next, moving my left foot. So I set that foot down, the other foot's coming up, and then I execute the technique.
Right.
So if I apply that same concept with Hwa-Rang, it's a transitional, it's not a stance. So I'm not going to go from basically what you just said. Is it a rear foot stance? Because when I bring that right heel up and I set that left foot down, it's kind of like a rear foot stance.
Kind of, yeah.
But it's not a rear foot stance. And the encyclopedia doesn't say to go to a rear foot stance.
Yeah.
It's a transition. So I'm in a stance, I'm moving forward, I'm transitioning, and I'm kicking. So that left heel's up, I transition and I kick.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's true.
Someone's going to go, no, that's not it. And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's why we do the podcast, so we can have a discussion.
Right. So let us know which way you do it and the reasoning behind why you decide to do it this way. But thanks for jumping into another Tool World podcast. We'll see you guys next week. Don't forget to be safe.
Keep training.
And have a great week.
Taekwon.